"25 races down, 5 races remain in the 6th season of the Gratton Cup Series, and tonight we return to Darlington, the track too tough to tame, with a championship battle at forefront of everybody's minds. Dawson Miller coming into this race with a 70-point advantage, as his team owner Isaac Nichols said after the race at Watkins Glen. He's got one hand on the championship trophy, but the chasing pack still hanging around with Gore, Rowe, Bright and Anthony all trying to hunt down that 48 and compete for the championship late on here in the season. At the track too tough to tame, we'll see who's able to pull through at the end of 92 laps to claim a crown jewel victory here in the Gratton Cup Series. This is the Southern 500, the 26th race of the 6th season of the Gratton Cup Series. Hello and welcome back to the Gratton Cup Series, season number 6, here at the Darlington Raceway, Darlington, South Carolina. 26th race of the season. It is one of the crown jewel events on the calendar, the 4th and final crown jewel event on the calendar, the Southern 500 here at the Darlington Raceway. We've got 92 laps coming your way. We've got a very, very interesting race. If the Goodyear 400 was any indication, a lot of strategy may come into play in this one, albeit this race is 18 laps longer than what we saw in the Goodyear 400 back in January. So there is a lot to play out. There's a lot to look forward to. And of course, we've got that championship battle at the moment. As mentioned in the Open, Dawson Miller has basically got one hand on the championship. But if things go awry today, then the 71 who starts second will be there to capitalise, you would imagine, and then perhaps a few others as well. We'll see how this one plays out. But I'm joined up in the booth here today by Matt Tuck. Welcome to Darlington. It's always a very interesting racetrack, one of the highest highway tracks, a very unique track in terms of its shape and its design. So what are you looking forward to the most here at the Darlington Raceway?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen over the years, this has definitely been one of the more entertaining tracks on the calendar that can produce all sorts of outcomes, depending where the strategy falls, the yellows fall, when you time everything out. So I think the strategy games are going to be quite interesting here to watch. I mean, like you said, Dawson Miller basically has his hand on the trophy here with just a handful of races to go. But you do have a couple guys up there, and I mean, Henry Guo, starting from the second position, is in a good spot to maybe have a shot to reel in some of that. But outside of Guo and Alexander Rowe, I mean, the rest of these guys are really in do or die situations and need Dawson to have a bad day that he just hasn't shown over the past month he's capable of having.
Yeah, absolutely. And it hasn't shown it all year, to be honest with you. He's finished all but one lap this season, which kind of indicates how strong of a season he's had. The only race where he finished a lap down was Colorado, when everything got a bit out of whack with the pit stops and the cautions in that one. But otherwise he's finished on the lead lap in every single race, which is, of course, super impressive. And it's a big reason why he has a 70-point advantage coming into this race. You see the standings on your screen over Henrik Waugh, who does start second today. So something to keep in mind with the 71, but Miller starting from the 9th position, so not too much of a difference between those two drivers on the grid. That margin's about a race and a half, effectively, at the moment. So Miller will probably need to have a last place run, for example, somewhere along the line, and War and company makes the ground up. Rowe is 82 back. He starts with 28th in this race, so he's got a lot of work to do, but saw Travis Crampton win from 26th earlier in the year, or 27th, I should say. So it's not impossible to work your way forward here at Darlington if you play cards right, but he's got a lot of work to do. Eli Bright is now 2 races back in the 95. He's 92 back, and he starts with 22nd. Dominic Anthony is 95 back. He had a tough week last week at the Glen. He's now 95 back down to 5th in the championship, and then everybody else realistically out of it. Benny Watson 128 back, 6th in points. Noah Clifton's had a really tough couple of races, 145 back. Brandon Bent 160 back. And then Matthew Hubert had a decent run last week, top 10. He's now moved up to 9th in points in the 8th, and he's gunning for Rookie of the Year on us. We haven't really talked about that, but he's only 5 points back in the Rookie of the Year, so keep an eye on that in the run-in. And then our pole sitter for tonight's race, Jared Oren in the 99, is 10th in the championship, 181 back. Let's go to our starting lineup with thanks to Budget Car and Truck and Rentals. As we mentioned, Jared Oren's on the pole. He had a mechanical issue 2 of the last 3 weeks, so hoping to just have a clean run. His first pole since Martinsville and his 4th pole of the season. He times Alexander Rowe for the most this season. Henry Gore gets his best start of the season in the 71. Good time to have it. He starts from the front row in the 71. Alex Sanvitale, 37th in points. This is his best start of the season in the 37, and he would love a strong performance here tonight. Brandon Bent, 8th in the championship, coming into this race, starts from 4th. Thomas Troxel and Brady Perez are the 2 Pacific Toyotas, hoping to join Caleb Rose in victory lane before the year's said and done. They start from row 3. Logan Williams, first top 10 of the year last week for Williams. He starts alongside the winner of the Goodyear 400 at this track earlier in the season, Travis Crampton in the 97, who starts a lot further up than he did that day. Dawson Miller in the 48 and Dominic Anthony, 2 drivers, top 5 in the points, but very different fortunes. Miller, 70 points up, of course, on the field. Anthony, 95 back of the 48. And then you got 6th in points, Benny Watson starting from 11th alongside Christian Vargas, who's had some great form and great runs as of late. Julio Caesar and Kian Raleigh, 13th and 14th. Row 7, Nathan Smith and Charlie Davenport, who was very, very close to winning last week at Watkins Glen. And then the 2 Velocistar Hondas of Duncan Ward and Tyler Jericho, who finished 4th last week at Watkins Glen. An impressive run for the 63. And then Max Davis and Derek Hamill round out your top 20. Rest starting lineup on the left side of your screen. 92 laps of action here at the Darlington Raceway. And Matt, I'll hand it over to you. Who do you think is going to find their way into victory lane here in the Southern 500?
Boy, oh boy. This is going to be an interesting one. You want to take an NS racing car because they have been very, very good across the course of the season. But I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go the championship point leader. I think Dawson Miller is in for a big night here, and this is the kind of night that he could really put a stamp on this championship here.
No doubt about that, and it's funny, the last time Jared Oren was on pole, Dawson Miller won the race at Martinsville, so I think it's something to keep in mind. And Miller looking to really slam that championship door shut. 70 points up, he can afford a bad race, but he'd certainly not like that to be the case. So here we go. Going to get the pace car on a pit road. 92 laps, the Southern 500, the 4th and final Crown Jewel event on the schedule. It's Oren Aguirre to lead the field to green. We're waiting, and there's the green flag, and we are underway here at Darlington in the Southern 500. And to complete the first lap of action, Jared Oren in the 99 jumps out to the lead. Good start for him. Gore trying to get that outside to his advantage, and he will get clear of the 37 of Sanvitale. So top 5 remain in place. Logan Williams on the inside here of Braden Perez. But the one thing we saw here earlier in the season in the Goodyear 400 was that inside lane through turn 2 is not where you want to be. You want to be on the outside out of turn 2 and carry a lot of that momentum. But certainly through 3 and 4, you can. 3 and 4 is a very interesting part of the racetrack because you can, the inside lane works, the outside lane, if you get the run off the turn, you can carry that momentum down the front. So it's a very, very unique racetrack with a different style of turns up and down, through 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. The difference there, you got Miller, who's up to 8, so he's made a spot. He's got around Crampton. You got Watson and Anthony trying to work their way forward, and Anthony will get around the 97. Right there, but of course Crampton started 27th at Darlington here earlier in the season. Went on to win in what was a strategy race, albeit 74 laps. It was a 30-lap run the last time we were here. It's expected, 35-lap run last time we were here. But Oren out in front. Gore, they're pulling away from Sanvitale in third.
Yeah, Sanvitale, I feel like, is kind of holding up the pack here. As Ben's going to go to the inside of Sanvitale. maybe open the door for Thomas Troxel, but he'll get to rip the outside there and gets a good run. Kind of open the door for Troxel to maybe jump to the outside as the top couple drivers here. Top two are running away. Oren and Henry Guo are absolutely running away from it as my mic cable is being eaten by the cat here. This is a good run for Oren, and this is a good run for Guo. I mean, you can still salvage some points here on Dawson Miller. You need Dawson Miller to have a worse day than he's having right now, but yeah, good start here so far, and we got battle for third heating up between Bent and Sam Vitale.
And Bent looking to try and clear. He has to check up right there, and that's what we see here at Darlington. If you can't get clear of that car on the outside, that's going to hurt you. And Sam Vitale able to hold that momentum and carry that momentum and hold that position, I should say. You got Bent here on the inside. The inside lane definitely the preferred lane, at least through the center of 3 and 4. But then you see Troxel who gets the run on the high side there, and he's going to actually get around the 27. As he will be on the outside here for 1. But he'll be able to use that momentum in turn 2. And of course, this is Darlington, so you've got to be careful of that outside wall, getting that famed Darlington stripe. Something to keep in mind. We saw a few drivers up in the outside wall here earlier in the season. So Troxel now up to 4th. You got his teammate Perez in 6th, and here comes the 48 of Miller, trying to make up some ground. He's on the inside of Williams, and 33 had a top 10 run last week, as we mentioned at the Glen, but he may lose this spot here to Miller, who is going to be able to clear. And so he is now up into the 7th position. So making some ground in this one. You got Crampton on the inside of Anthony. Can't quite make that one stick, and he's going to drop back as a result, but will hold that position inside the top 10 currently. But the top 2, well and truly out of here. Oren from Guo, and then Sam Vitale back down in 3rd. He's a 2.5 off the lead. Here comes Bent to the inside of Troxel. And once again, just he can't quite get far enough alongside and get past this 62. Checks up through turn 2, and he's going to slot back in behind. That might open the door for Brian Perez.
Yeah, Perez holding strong here early in the going. Both 2 of the 3 Pacific cars up here in the front of this field having a really strong day, and they've really emerged in the second half of the season, which I think is something to keep an eye on heading into next year. NS Racing and Pacific really showing out here strong at the end of the season. Nicotech, Dawson Miller's been really good. They have guys who will have good runs behind. Oh, something has happened back here.
Yeah, Raleigh got the outside wall out at turn 2. That's obviously...
Yeah, Raleigh just pummeled that wall here. But it is interesting, to watch heading into next season. You can see a lot of teams have emerged in the second half of this season, and I still like Nicotech Racing a lot, but I think the pace kind of shows that Dawson Miller has been putting the team a bit on his back here as some other teams and drivers have emerged, but he's just continuing what he has to do here, and if he keeps running, if he's just going to run 7th every single weekend, he's going to have this championship wrapped up a couple weeks early at this rate.
Yeah, definitely. You got Anthony trying to hold off Crampton. You got Julio Cesar with a good run here in the 26. Got caught up in the kind of the mess in the inner loop last week when our race leader at the moment, Jared Oren, lost an engine, and a lot of drivers went firing off through the inner loop. But there's one thing about the 99. He bemoaned the mechanical issues that have plagued this car this year. 3 races this season where he was running inside the top 10. A mechanical issue happened, and he finished well outside the top 35 in that race as a result. So it's about a 100-point swing across those 3 races. It's a remarkable thing to consider, because if that didn't happen, he'd be up and around the top 5 of the points at the moment. But here we go. We've got a battle for the lead. Guo is trying to get to the inside here of Oren. Can't quite carry the momentum down the front. You see that outside lane through 4 and down the front. Oren was able to use that to his advantage and hold the 71 off. So no change as of yet at the front of the field. So top 2 really pulling away from Sam Vitale, who's still having a very good run, it should be said, but doesn't have the speed of the front 2. You feel like Bent may be quicker than Troxel, but just can't find a way around at the moment. And then you got Miller, you got Watson, who's made his way forward a little bit. Crampton got around Dominic Anthony. He's back inside the top 10. As we've got drivers fanning out all over the place. You got Watson now on the inside of Miller. But it's not an ideal position for him to be in, because, again, that inside lane through, particularly turn 2 here, not where you want to be. Crampton gets around Logan Williams. So he's now up to 8th. Keep an eye on him. He's looking to sweep the 2 races here this year. You got Hubert back in there in the 8 as well, who had alternate strategy last week at the Glen, got him a top 10. He's now top 10 in the championship and doing a pretty good job here in the 8. Here goes Anthony back to the inside, trying to get around the 33 of Williams.
Yeah, Anthony putting strong effort in the early going of this race. You can kind of see, you know, just on track and through the time and the scoring that the field is starting to get a bit more jumbled here as these tires wear off. Oh, that is not ideal. That is not what you want to do there. As we see that 25 Irwin Tools machine of Nathan Smith just ripping around the wall. Not what you want to be doing there. Tough for Nathan Smith, who's not really had a particularly great debut season here in the Gratton Cup Series, but Duncan Ward in the 54 moving his way to the front of this field, or moving his way around Julio Caesar. I mean, he can see the top 10 in sight here, which is Anthony and Hubert in front of him. Really having a better second half of the season is Duncan Ward than he is over in Wawa Cup Series. So at least he's got that going for him. But yeah, this is gonna be interesting here. I mean, we're looking at a 2-stop race here, so we know we're gonna get a lot of action down pit road here, and that kind of makes all this passing now so much more interesting because you're gonna need position later in the race, and just interesting to see who's coming to play here so far and who looks good on these long runs.
Well, Brambit finally got around Troxel, got back up to 4th, taking him a little while. He finally got that one done. Miller trying to work his way forward as well. He's trying to go 2 for 1. Got to the inside of Perez. Won't be able to get to the inside of Troxel, but he may well be able to clear this 92. And of course, Perez ran pretty fast here early in the year, qualified on the pole. Got into the outside wall, dropped him back a little bit. He finished 11th. Oh, and we had an incident at the rear of the field. Nicholas Samadio is involved. There is no caution. It happened at the back, so you'd be seeing the replay now as to what's happened. Unfortunately, the 45, who's had a really torrid season, Samadio, it's not been easy for him. He's blown up and is out of the race. Jack Haas also involved. That's a shame for Haas. He was top 5 at Darlington earlier in the year, and he's coming down to pit. The damage on the right side and the rear of that car. So you see the smoke in the trails. You could see what happened there, kind of indicate potentially what may have happened at the back of the field, unfortunately. But Oren and Gual well out at front. And 4 seconds ahead now of Sam Vitale, who, again, I mean, he's doing solidly, just doesn't have the speed of the top 2. Bentz is now trying to pull away from Troxel, trying to close in on the 37. And then these guys are battling pretty hard back in here. You got Perez, Crampton, Watson, Logan Williams, all these guys battling pretty hard. Perez almost in the outside wall. He's got to be careful. Ooh, it's so close. You're ripping the wall so close here at Darlington when you're on that outside. You're so close to getting that outside wall and doing what we saw with Nathan Smith before, where you could really ride that outside wall and really tear up your car a bit. As Crampton continues to go after Perez, and this time he got the wall, and he hit it pretty hard too. And he's going to lose at least 1 position, maybe 2, because here comes Watson.
Yeah, I mean, you see Perez going it out, getting stuck on the outside there. Watson, Williams, Anthony Huber, all looking to take advantage of this here. And this is going to be a great opportunity for one of these guys, you know, when they do start to cycle down pit road, because we have a huge cluster of cars. The top 2 have completely gone away. They were almost, Henry Goal last time around almost had a crack at the lead there. But they're just in their own race right now. Don't really have a whole lot to worry about as far as challengers, as long as they keep this clean. But these guys, 3rd on, all the way through the top 10, there are some serious positions that you can make up here on an undercut or maybe even an overcut if you're willing to sacrifice in the short term here. So a lot of fascinating stuff unfolding here in the early going of this race. Crampton's moving his way up. Miller's moving his way up. Crampton just keeps winning all these big events this year. Every time he shows up, it's the biggest race he can find. But 25 laps next time around. Nobody's breathing down the top 2 so far, though.
Yeah, definitely. They've got a very good position. What we saw earlier in the year where Crampton won that race, you see Miller now going to the inside. Same time, he's on the march. He is really making his way forward. He started from the 9th position. Hasn't been easy to make up ground, but Miller's certainly doing that fairly nicely here, this 48. And he will be able to clear Sanford. Oh, no, he wasn't. He had to check up there a little bit. He should still get past. He got a good run, a decent enough run. Now he clears. So Miller up to third. He is moving his way forward. So for Henry Gore, who's second at the moment, I mean, it's mitigated by the fact that Dawson Miller's third. So the 48 doing a very nice job. Sam Vitale back down to the 4th position. He's once again under attack from Brandon Bent, this 27. Desperate to get around the 37. Feels like he's got a better car, but just cannot find a way around him. But still, I mean, for Sam Vitale, top 35 battle, this is very important for him. I want to mention, you mentioned Crampton. He shows up at these big events and these big races. Obviously, won the Daytona 500. He finished 3rd in the Coke 600. Won at Darlington earlier in the year and was very fast at Indianapolis a few weeks back. So he does show up for these big events, and he's doing a very good job. Currently, at the moment, in 6th. Started from the 8th position, which he's done a fairly good job. Troxel getting shuffled back here on this outside a little bit. He's now going to drop behind Watson, potentially, in this battle for 8th. So he's dropped down to 9th now. And Williams inside the top 10. We haven't seen as much from Anthony in this race as I thought we might. He hasn't been able to move his way forward as much. You've got Hubert, Ward, and Caesar also poking around. Same with Charlie Davenport, who finished 2nd last week at the Glen. As you see now, Crampton looking to the inside of Bent. And the 97 looking very racy here once again.
Yeah, Crampton absolutely flying through this field here. He's got to get around Bent and St. Vitale here, but if he does, he's going to have, with one cycle, if this is the 400, earlier in spring, I think you're kind of in a box here where you're really out of luck with catching the top 2, but you do get 2 cycles of pit stops here in this race. So there is some time, to kind of reel back in those leaders here as Williams on Troxel, with Anthony finding his way around the top side here for the moment to break this up. Couple of guys really having a great battle here. Huber's following along with them. Caesar, Charlie Davenport moving his way through this field. He's having a good start to this race. Ward's holding steady. Looking through the rest of the top 20. Nathan Smith actually kind of rebounding for how heavy he hit that wall, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. Tristan Allen, you can see there. This has been solid start to this race here, just over a third of the way home. Nathan Smith, I don't know if that's just the camera glitching with the wall file. He keeps knocking that wall down, but here we go. Sam Vitale, that's kind of early to come down pit road.
Yeah, it is. It's, the first drives to pit in the 400 earlier this year was lap 32. Is that Gore in as well? It is. So Gore's going for the undercut. He's decided, you know what, I've had enough of being stuck behind the 99. I want to take the lead of this race. And the undercut was very effective earlier in the season. The only thing, of course, is that if there is a yellow, then that's not going to do the 71 any favours. Now, there's Caleb Rose. I want to quickly mention him, of course. He was the winner last week at Watkins Glen. And ran very well here earlier in the year at Darlington. He's having a really tough night down in 37th. Our leader is in. Jared Oren has dominated the early stages of this race. Brain Perez now cycles through to hit the front. Dawson Miller also in. So, interesting strategy. Now, 37 looked like he was maybe a bit slow on that stop, potentially. I'm not quite sure. Not sure where the 71 ended up. There he is. It looked like War had a good stop, nice and clean. You'd imagine with the tyre wear, which is significant. It's about a 3-4 second fall off here at Darlington. So you'd imagine that, even though Oren, I think he's going to lose this lead right here, he'll have 1 lap younger tyres. That may be a bit of a difference further down the line. Kelly Lee, I think, has had a bad stop because she's right alongside Miller. Not good for the 76. Now there's the 71. And he rounds up Oren. That's how much 1 lap undercut makes a difference here at Darlington. So Oren's going to drop back and Gore's out of here in the 71. He's looking to get this second win of the year and give himself some sort of chance here in this championship. Let's see where the others come out. There's Perez. He's going to get around them pretty quickly. Pretty easy. Well, he's not even going to have to fight them because they're on pit road. So Gore now the race leader in the 71. Oren is second. I think it should be Miller, and it is. Miller is third. Lee is a lap down. San Vitale is 4th. So even though he undercut, he actually didn't gain really on Miller. Well, that's not really what he would have been hoping for, but he did pull away from Bent, Crampton, Watson, Hubert. And then it's Logan Williams. Tristan Allen looks like he made a bit of ground here in the 14 as well. But the 71 officially has taken the lead here at Darlington.
Yeah, the tire strategy here from Henry Guo and a cleaner stop. And he is long gone here. 2.1 seconds last time by out in front of Oren. And the one thing that works in Oren's favor right now is he doesn't have Dawson Miller and Alex San Vitale breathing down his neck at least. So he can kind of, just lock in, get some laps in. Hope that with Henry Guo having to navigate through lap traffic, he can pass cars here, but it is tricky at times, especially when the tires wear. That maybe Oren can start to reel Guo back in, and we're going to keep an eye. The math works that they're not going to be short on fuel, but I am very curious to see what Guo and San Vitale are going to be able to do as far as the pit strategy goes, because they are very close on fuel. Which is something that we'll just have to keep an eye on here. But fantastic run here for the 71, and he's just continuing to hold steady now as he's got to work his way through the lappers.
And this is going to be interesting because Jack Haas pitted about lap 20. Obviously, he has damage, but he's also got worn-out tyres in comparison to a lot of these guys. And so maybe something that, if you're Oren or Miller or San Vitale, these guys up at the front, something you've got to keep in mind when you're getting around. Unfortunately for Guo, Josh Williamson is not damaged and does not have worn tyres. So it'll be a bit trickier to get around. But he's in a very good position here, the 71. He should be able to go to the end. You'd imagine if all's, let's say he comes in lap 61, he'll be able to go to the end of this race. It's about a 30 to 35 lap fuel window. Battles on back in here for 5th. Looks like Watson's got a bit of a wriggle on here in this run. Well, Crampton's really dropped away, hasn't he? The 97, he's actually got the wall by the looks of it. He looks like he's hit the wall somewhere, so that's a shame there for Crampton. He's got a bit of damage on the right side, but that's why he'd be a bit further back. Watson trying to hunt down Brandon Bent. Good run for Bent here in this race. He hasn't had a top 5, I feel like, for a long time, so it's a good run for him. Watson and Hubert look pretty competitive. Tristan Allen worked his way forward. That he must have undercut because he was 18th the last time we checked, and now he is up inside the top 10 ahead of Logan Williams. Another good run for the 33 team. And it's Caesar 26 is 11th. There's Anthony. He's down in 13th behind Noah Clifton, who's also made a bit of ground. Davenport, Troxel and Perez dropped back. Of course, Perez certainly came down later than a lot of others, so that probably plays a part in that. I haven't mentioned Alexander Rowe in this race. He started from 28th. He's up to 17th. Not sure what his strategy looks like. Didn't pay any attention really to him because he was so far back. But he's up to 17th. He's made some ground. There's Davis. Eric Monaco with a nice run here in this 42. Full Frontal Motorsports got their first top 20 of the year last week with Josh Williamson at Watkins Glen. So the 42 trying to go get another top 20 for these guys. Vargas, Ludovic Charette, who was very fast here earlier in the season until she hit the wall and dropped a long way back. Rogers, who's won here at Darlington twice before. Fridge. We haven't seen any of Eli Bright in this race in the 95. He's 4th in the championship, and he's a long way back. Certainly in comparison to all the guys he's racing really in this championship, so not looking good for the 95. There's Jericho, Tyson Gifford, Will Parrish, Kean Raleigh. Oh, it's Timebacks in the wall! With
that's not good.
Bryce Egan. And Egan, who dominated this race, the 400, earlier in the season, involved in this incident. The caution is out, and that's going to throw a monkey wrench into the strategy. I think is probably the apt way of saying it. So the caution is out on lap 42. So it means that they will have another 2 stops. You imagine all these guys will come down pit road, and certainly Oren and Guo will. Same with Miller and all these guys. Tough break for Steinbach. He's got a lot of damage on the 98. We'll have to see what happened in that one. So you'd imagine all of our leads are in. That's not good for Guo because he had a pretty good gap on Oren, and certainly probably more so on Miller, who looks very fast in that car. So we'll see. And I'll be Matt. Where do you go? Do you go 2? Do you go 4? What do you reckon?
you're gonna need fuel. You're gonna need a full tank of fuel. You might as well go 4. I don't see a world in which 2 tires doesn't end in an absolute disaster here eventually. I mean, no. You know what I'm saying? Like we've seen over the years, like 2 tires. This is not even a couple laps in a run. 2 tires is not the place you want to be here because you're gonna hit that cliff 5, 6, 7 laps earlier than everybody else and get absolutely punished. But we're gonna see 4 tires for every. Oh, hello.
Oren's taken 2. He might be the only one because Gore, good stop for Brandon Bent. He actually got out ahead of Dawson Miller. Bit of a slow stop for the 48 to 37. Watson, I'd imagine all these guys took 4 back in here. So that's an interesting strategy call. The 99s decided to go for 2. So we'll see if that plays out the way he would hope. But anyways, let's take a look at what happened to trigger the first caution of the race here in the Southern 500. So this is what's going to happen to trigger the first caution of the night. Addison Steinbach here in the 98 slides up the racetrack. You're going to see Bryce Egan wants to get down to the inside. Roberto Crown here in the 43 is going to get to the rear of the 18. The 18 tries to give Crown a bit of space, slides up into Steinbach and just turns the 98 into the inside wall. And Steinbach, that's a hard hit on that car and a lot of damage. He will be able to continue, but that car might be a problem later on in terms of trying to get around him. Egan, who dominated, he led 50 laps at Darlington earlier in the year, finished second. He's not going to get that kind of result tonight, unfortunately for him. But Steinbach certainly getting the worst end of that in the 98.
And you watch the 98 of Steinbach, and guys, we can't go 3 wide there. Bang into the wall. Huge hit for Steinbach. And the 18 there. Tough day for Steinbach. His day is going to end prematurely here at Darlington.
It is, and it means that we've got a shake-up at the front of the field because Oren's going to retake the lead, but he took 2 tyres, and that may not be the right strategy call, potentially. Gore took 4, and we had a look before to see that Brandon Bent took 2 tyres as well, hence why he's up to second. He's actually got a bit more damage than I initially realised. So, anyways, first caution of the night. Jared Oren's the race leader. Let's take it back to the green. Lights are out on the pace car. We're getting back to go racing with right at about halfway. We'll be restarting 47 to go here at Darlington. Jared Oren is the race leader. Henry Gore is second. Brandon Bent up to third because he's taken 2 tyres. Same with Oren. And quite a few drivers have. Dawson Miller, Alex Sanvitale rounds out your top 5. Benny Watson is 6th. Matthew Hubert 7th. Dominic Anthony 8th. Brad Perez with a good stop. He might have taken 2. He's up to 9th. Tristan Allen is in 10th. Eric Monaco is 11th. He definitely took 2 tyres. So, bit of a varying strategy throughout the field. And only 1 car out of the race, and that is Nicholas Samadia, who was caught up in the earlier incident that took him out, that engine issue. Here we go, going back to the green. Green flags in the air, and we're underway. First restart of the night here in the Southern 500. Decent start for the top 3. Miller did not get going in the 48. Steinbach is still on the racetrack, by the way. The 98, keep that in mind, because he's obviously got a bit of damage to deal with. Oren from Gore, and a little bit of a gap back to Bent. The 71 who took the lead, he's going to go to the inside right here, and he's going to put his 4 tyres to good use to the inside, and he's going to make it look pretty easy. Gets around Oren, and here comes the championship leader looking to join him up at the front of the field. Miller looking to the inside of Oren for second, can't quite get underneath, and he will slot back into the 3rd position. Here comes Watson, here comes Hubert to the inside of his teammate Alex Sanvitale.
Yeah, this is where Oren has to really run away from this pack as best as he can because he is only on 2 tires, which could help him maybe later. We'll find out if it helps him at all. I don't understand the strategy. You didn't need to take 2 tires there. The risk is so high, and you can already see Glow is just steam rolling away here. So now if you're Dawson Miller and Benny Watson and Matthew Huber, who's really shot out of a cannon here on this restart, you want to get up there as fast as possible and get around this number 99, Gerard Oren, and make a run at Henry Guo before he gets too far up down the distance. And you can already see Oren starting to struggle here. Miller to the inside. Watson's trying to go with Miller. Championship leader up to second. Watson to third. And that strategy call for Oren, I think, is already starting to backfire here.
Yeah, he's down to the 4th position, so not good for the 99. He's got Hubert, who, as you said, shot out of a cannon. He's worked his way forward. He's actually ahead now of his teammate Sam Vitale. And he's going to get past the 99 as, here we go, Watson looking for second here in the 96 to the inside of Miller. He's going to send it on the inside, and he actually may well clear the 48. And he does. So Benny Watson now up to second. We haven't seen a lot of him tonight. He's been in the top 10 all race, but we haven't really seen him up at the front. But he just got around Miller, but did a very nice job there to get to second. We've got Miller in third. He's under attack now from Hubert. Here comes Sam Vitale, 37. Oren really struggling. Same with Brandon Bent. Tristan Allen trying to work his way forward as now Hubert gets to the inside here in the 8 underneath the Miller. And he may well, you have to check up there at a crucial moment. Side by side down the back, and Miller with the run should be able to get clear of the... he's going to be able to clear the 8. He will not. Hubert back on the inside. And side by side through 3 and 4. Good run on the high side for Miller, though. Let's see if he can hold this position off into turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, he's got a really strong car here late in the going of this run. But you see Matthew Hubert really coming alive here in the second half of this race. He was in the back half of the top 10. But as a whole, we have a bunch of new players up here. Tristan Allen in the 14, Noah Clifton, Alexander Rowe, a guy who knows a thing or two about going to victory lane this year, as he's done it 5 times on the season. Shocking that he's not really in championship contention here. With a handful of races to go in this season, but they're all single file here in orange, just hemorrhaging time here. Objectively not the right strategy call for either the moment of the race or the racetrack that you're at, and he's paying a heavy price here as he's just dropping positions lap by lap here.
Here goes Noah Clifton. He's another one of these new players up in contention, the 13, getting to the inside of Oren. Miller once again under pressure. Hubert just attacking the back of this 48. The 48 struggling a bit more here in this run than I think I initially anticipated. And here we go. They're going to catch Addison Steinbach, who is a long, long way off the pace. And he will be put a lap down there. Another lap down by Watson, who's 96. Looks pretty quick, I can't lie. He looks pretty good. He's looking for his 4th win of the season. And he gained 4/10 on that last lap, so don't count him out of this one just yet. Plenty of racing left to go. Sam Vitale on the inside. He might lose a spot here to Allen, the 14. And he's going to get around. Allen looks pretty racy here at the moment. Unlike his teammate Brandon Bent, the 27, who also took 2 tyres. That didn't work out for him. Now Steinbach holding these guys up a little bit. And you don't want to get caught on the outside here if you're someone like Hubert. And that's exactly why he's going to lose all that time that he just made up on that run. There goes Sam Vitale. And Rowe's going to get to the inside, so this will annoy some people, because Steinbach is going to annoy Matthew Hubert more than anybody else, because he is losing time hand over fist. The 98 with a lot of damage, and Oren gets clear. And imagine Hubert is going to get down to the inside. Steinbach tries to get out of the way. There goes the 8. Here goes the 14 down to the inside. Julio Caesar may get caught out here because he's on the outside of Charlie Davenport, and he does. Bent gets to the inside. Charrette's moved her way forward here in this one, the 23 at the moment. Same with Jericho. Those guys now inside the top 20. A good run for them. But you see how much time that the 8 and the 14 lost, getting stuck behind those guys. They're now 6 seconds off the lead, as now Rowe, who started 28th tonight, has worked his way inside the top 5.
Yeah, he's just working his way lap by lap through the field, picking people off. We're closing in on 30 laps to go. I don't know if he's got enough time to get all the way up to Henry Guo and have a shot to win the race without a caution. I think Benny Watson has a shot here to win this race. He is going to need an undercut strategy and do something to get out ahead of Henry Guo here, but Great run, though, for Watson. NS Racing just continues to put themselves in positions to win races, as Watson, Bright, and Crampton have all gone to victory lane multiple times this year. And Gerard Oren also has found his way to victory. Or Gerard Oren has not found his way to victory lane. Unfortunate for him, because I think this is his best shot of victory tonight. And it's just not going to go his way without something crazy happening here. But at least he's rebounding for the moment. But yeah, we are Henry Guo Masterclass here late in the going, late in the run of this season. And he's kind of feels like the last guy with a shot to really rein in Dawson Miller and maybe make this title fight interesting. If this holds, he gains a bit. But, I mean, if he somehow blows this, or even if Dawson Miller finishes second, it's not really going to have too much of an impact. But he is moving the needle in the right direction to maybe have a shot heading down into the finale.
Definitely. And all it takes is one bad race from Miller to get Guo back into it, potentially, especially if Guo were to win tonight and continue piling on strong performances. You've got Watson, there's Miller. I want to mention Handgel Motorsports. Alex Sanvitale is 4th. Matthew Hubert has been very fast, obviously. He's 7th. But Charlie Davenport's now inside the top 10. So all 3 of those cars inside the top 10 here at Darlington. So they're having a very good night. Very good showing by all of those cars. So Sanvitale, it probably doesn't have the fastest car, but he's been able to hold the position for much of the night. He's running the top 5 for much of the night. He's doing a very good job. But Clifton looks pretty racy here too. He's made a bit of ground on these guys in front. So Rowe gets to the inside here of Sanvitale, and he may go to the inside of Miller too. Good run on the inside through 3 and 4. Let's see if he can get clear of the 48. And he can. So Alexander Rowe now up to 3rd. So he is granted 5.5 seconds off his teammate at the lead of the race. But you never know. Don't count the 51 out before this thing is all said and done. So Miller back down to 4th. Sanvitale 5th. Clifton, you see Hubert and Allen have closed in on them. Oh, that was close there. That was very close. I thought Clifton was going to make it 3 wide. There was maybe a bit of contact between Sanvitale and Miller. And Sanvitale, can he get clear of the 48? It's going to get close here. It's very, very close. He should be able to get to it. Look how much time that Rowe has now pulled away. He's been able to run away from these guys quite a bit as they've been battling pretty hard. Miller sliding up, but he continues to lose ground. How about Allen here in the 14? Haven't seen as much from him this year. He was involved in an early crash last week at the Glen. But he is working his way forward in the Panini Ford. And right in and amongst this group, as Clifton's going to be able to get clear of Miller. So Miller's struggling here in this run.
Yeah, Miller really struggling here. And we're going to need another round of pit stops here. He's got to be careful. We talk about Henry Guo being the guy chasing him in the championship. I was saying if Dawson Miller finishes on the podium, it's a gain for Guo, but it's not a huge gain. If Miller slides backwards, gets passed by Clifton, he can get passed by Allen and Huber. You're starting to enter, okay, a couple races to go here. Henry Guo's got a shot to make this last run of the season kind of interesting here for the guy who's basically led the entirety of the season here. So, tough run here in the second half of this run for Dawson Miller. He's going to need the pit stops here soon to get this car straightened out very quickly here.
And Hubert once again trying to get to the inside, can't quite do it. Rowe has gained a bit of ground. It's 5.6 seconds. I think Watson has started to drop away from the 71. This is as big of a night for Henry Guo as he's ever had in the series. Been around since season 2. He's only won multiple races once, and that was season 2, his rookie year. We finished outside the top 30 of the points. It was a really tough campaign for him. He has never really been a championship contender in this series, but he's been in the top 5 every single race in terms of the championship this year, and this is as good of a run as you could have asked for from him. Now, have we had... Gerard Oren has dropped outside the 10. I thought that maybe we'd start at pit stops, because... How about Jericho? That 63 continues to go from strength to strength, up to 10th now, and looking pretty quick here in this car, trying to hunt down Charlie Davenport, who's in 9th, and having a A bit of a lonely race at the moment, but you won't complain too much with the top 10. You got Troxel down there in 11th. How about Will Parrish up to 12th? The 11 with a very strong run. Of course, finished second a few weeks ago at Indianapolis. Very different circumstances, strategy involved in that one, but that car looks pretty good. And there's Oren. He's dropped down now to 13th. So yeah, that strategy did not work for him. And some of the other guys that also took 2. Travis Crampton's down to 20th. I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if he took 2, but he's a long way back. There's Brandon Bent. He took 2, and he's now down in 22nd. Max Davis took 2. I know that for a fact, and you see how slow he is at the moment. He's really holding these guys up quite a bit. He's down 24th. And with Hubert running very well, it's actually not good for his Rookie of the Year status. Bryce Egan's recovered okay. He's 27th. Oh, and Bright's in the wall. Good time to get back to the 95. That was close there. But what a terrible night for Bright. He's going to drop a lot of ground here in this championship. That might be it for him. Brad Perez took 2. Well, Kean Rowley's got a lot of front end damage. Not sure what happened to the 10. He might have run into somebody on pit road. Duncan Ward. Some of these guys definitely took 2. Have really struggled. Eric Monaco, who was 11th on the restart. That's close there with Gore. He's now a lap down in the 42. So, you know, definitely not the right call to take 2. And Rowe has got that margin under 5 seconds. In fact, it's down to 4.2 seconds. So, not only is he gaining on Gore, but he's also gaining a lot of time on here on Watson. So, keep an eye on this 51 at the back end of the race.
Keep an eye on Watson late in the going of this race. Keep an eye on Alexander Rowe. I mean, Rowe's clear now of the rest of this pack, so he's got time to run down these guys. This is the interesting part of the race. I don't think anybody is going to do what Gerard Ora did and take 2 tires. We saw that violent. Oh, somebody's down pit road. Is that Brandon Bent? I think I just saw somebody down pit road. That is going to be interesting to watch here. This should be a scheduled pit stop here for Brandon Bent. So
let's see. We'll follow with him.
Keep an eye on the 27.
Let's see. We'll follow him here. He's going to take 4. So 20 to go. That's not really unsurprising. Logan Williams now in the outside wall. And really scraping up alongside it. Will Parrish is going to pit there in the 11. And here we go. The leaders are in. All 3 of them. So Gore, Watson, and Rowe all in at the same time. Alex Sanvitale has taken the lead in all that. That might be the first lap he's ever led in the Cup Series. In that 37. But he's out in front at the moment, trying to play a bit of an overcut. This is a big stop for Gore. Miller is staying out as well. That's interesting. There's the 99 of Oren. He's taking 4. No surprise there. Let's see what the strategy call here is for Gore. Is it 2? Is it 4? Looks like it's going to be 4. So 4 tires for Gore. Watson's done. Rowe is done. Davenport's still out there. Same with Hubert. Gore is done with his pit stop. So the 71 now. As long as we have a nice clean cycle, we'll retake the lead. These guys are our leaders. Hubert, Allen, and Davenport. They're all going for the overcut. That may not work out for him. Might lose some ground, at least in the short term anyway. Tyler Jericho on pit road. Kean Rowley. Not sure where he got the front end damage. You might have seen that. Dawson Miller is in. He's taking 4. So everyone taking 4. Sam Vitale's in, taking 4 as well. We're just waiting to find where the 71 is. And I think he's gone past. There he is. And I think Watson's gained a bit of ground here. And certainly Rowe has gained ground in this race. This thing's far from over. Rowe is very, very fast here in the 51. I'm just waiting for everything to all cycle through with the timing. But the top 3, they all came down at the same time. And they are still the top 3. That's not a surprise. Let's see, 71. Yep, so he is 7th. And these guys are right behind. So this thing is far from over. It's just over a second between the 71 and the 96. So this thing is far from over. So we're coming to 16 to go next time.
Yeah, 16 laps to go here. And we have a great battle heating up here for the lead. The top, second, and third of Watson and Rowe can absolutely now see Henry Guo up in front of them. They're all within a second of each other. So first time since that restart relay that we've seen a battle for the lead here. And Henry Guo has some lappers now in front of him. He's got some cars he's going to have to work his way around here over these final 15-odd laps or so. So this is going to get exciting here to see how he can navigate this. And if Watson and Rowe have anything to say, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, they're closing in a hurry, and Watson was sliding. He was straight back to the gas, like immediately out of turn 4, and gained so much time down the front. He is closing in a hurry. And so now, I mean, this is an interesting point of the race for Gore, because, as you mentioned, he's got lap traffic to deal with, so that's not going to be easy for him to deal with. It's going to be an awkward situation. Look at the 96. He is flying at the moment, and he is now within 2/10 of the 71. So this thing, far from over. We're coming to 13 to go next time by. Gore's got Derek Hamill in front in the 44. Oh, and where'd you go? Watson slides up the racetrack. Gore looking to get to the inside of the 44, and he does. But now Watson's going to try and peek his nose up there on the outside. This may work out for Watson. Side by side. Will Gore get clear of Hamill? No, he will not. He will not. That might open the door for the two guys behind, Watson and Rowe. It's going to get close. Gore's going to cut down in front. Watson trying to get a surge of momentum. He slides up. Here goes Rowe to the inside of the 96. This is going to be a bloodbath to the finish. 12 laps to go. Gore still in the lead, but he's got two very, very fast drivers right behind him. Watson and Rowe trying to find their way around each other first and foremost, and then go after the 71 and try and win this race. So Gore holding on, at least for the moment. Rowe lost a heap of ground as a result of that move, but you'd imagine he'll be able to go again. Gore still hasn't found a way around Derek Hamill as of yet. Watson with a good run out of 4. He might have a look here into turn 1. He may not be close enough yet, but he is stalking the back of the 71.
Yeah, this is a brilliant drive here from Benny Watson, and Henry Guo, I think, has to be fighting for his absolute life, because he knows that if he can hold on here, Dawson Miller probably looking at a 7th, maybe a 6th place finish here. He might have a shot to get up to the top 5, but oh boy, here comes Watson to the inside of Guo. He's going to use the 44 as a pick. Hopefully, Guo gets the toe down the front straightaway. This is everything to play here for the 71. Henry Guo does not want to lose this race. This might be his best shot here to make a huge dent in the championship, and he needs to hold on here to this lead.
And more than just the championship, this is the Southern 500. This is one of the crown jewel races. Watson with a run to the inside. He got a good run through turn 4. He got a great run down the front. He's going to take the lead right here, leads that lap. But can he get clear of the 71 through turn 2? Yes, he does. Watson takes the lead with less than 10 laps to go. Gore back to 2nd. And then Rowe right behind as well. What a run from the 96. And he takes the lead with 9 laps to go. 8.5 laps to go now. Here comes Rowe. He wants to get to the inside of Gore. Side by side down the front between the teammates. Gore with a good run this time out of 4. But he's lost so much time here at the back end of this race. Gore gets clear of Rowe. He's going to try and have another crack maybe at Watson. And now Watson's the one that has to deal with the lap traffic potentially. Addison Steinbach, they're going to run up on the 98 again. Got to be careful here if you're the leaders. You do not want to get caught up with this 98 for terribly long. Watson gets to the inside of Hamill. And this is actually going to work out pretty well. They're going to work out pretty well. Ward got to the inside. Look at Watson to the inside of the 44. Gets around Hamill. Gets past Steinbach. He gets clear of the lap traffic while Ward doesn't. He gets stuck and gets held up just a little bit. And Rowe gets really held up there in the 51. He's going to get stuck for a lot longer.
Yeah, whoa, it didn't work there. I mean, Alexander Rowe got absolutely screwed with the timing of trying to pass Addison Steinbach. He's got the 44. He's pushing down the straightaway here. I mean, those three had to struggle, though. Noah Clifton gained over a second and 2 laps from the 4th position as Dawson Miller moves up to the 6th position. So gains another spot for our championship leader, who's looking to salvage something out of this night. And he's got another teammate, or he's got the 37 to San Vitale as one of his teammates knocks down the wall here. But Henry Guell's going to need to just reel this up, and I think he can make a shot at it, but he's only going to get like one more shot at it here as Watson gets to the inside of Duncan Ward. Guell's going to need to time out the run here. What a season for NS Racing. It's not going to end in them getting a driver's championship, but they have won, if you consider the big four of the crown jewels to be the Southern 500, the Daytona 500, the Coke 600, and the Brickyard 400. They won at Indianapolis. They're on pace to potentially win here tonight. They won the Daytona. What an unbelievable season here for NS Racing. All their drivers show out here when the lights get absolutely the brightest here in these big events, and 3 laps to go here when we get back to the stripe for them to tally another crown jewel win.
And for Watson, he got around Nathan Smith right there. That's big because you see the gap between himself and the next lap car, Caleb Rose. 3 laps to go. Watson is pulling away. Got that margin to about half a second. Gore has got to get around Nathan Smith very quickly if he's any chance to win this race. He had to check up a little bit. The 71, it's faded away from him. And yes, as you correctly pointed out, NS Racing looking like they're going to win 3 of the 4 crown jewel events in this series this season. They won the 500 with Travis Crampton. They won Indianapolis with Eli Bryant, and Benny Watson with 2 to go, leading here at Darlington in the Southern 500. That gap's over a second, or not quite over a second, but it's pretty close to it, 9/10. But Gwart's still stuck behind Nathan Smith, and he is going to rue the opportunity lost today. Benny Watson into 3 and 4. He's going to see the white flag this time by 1 lap to go here in the Southern 500. Gwar finally gets to the inside of the 25, but too little too late. White flag in the Southern 500 for Benny Watson, on his way to a 4th win this season. And he's had to run down the 71. He did it here at the end of this race. Gwar gets around Smith, and he's going to finish 2nd here tonight, but what an opportunity lost for him. And that's 71 team. Benny Watson through 3 and 4. 4th win of the season and his first here at Darlington. Benny Watson wins the Southern 500. Gore gets home in 2nd. He was able to get home in that 2nd position, but nearly 2 seconds back. What a shame for him. Rowe 3rd. Great drive from 28th on the grid. And Clifton from 27th on the grid. A great drive by both those drivers. Alex Sanvitale gets his 2nd top 5 of the year. And that's going to be big in terms of the top 35 and owner points. We'll figure that out. Miller ended up in 6th after all of that. It's a very interesting top 10, but Benny Watson gets himself a win here in the Southern 500. His first victory at Darlington. And I'm not sure what's happening here with the 13 here at the end, but Watson the winner. You see the full results on your screen. Watson from Gwar, who led the most laps. It might have been Oren, but the 71, he and Rowe, they're going to gain a little bit of ground, but not much in the grand scheme of things. And then Clifton, Sanvitale, Miller. Tristan Allen ended up in 7th. How about Tyler Jericho, Matt? You picked him up a few weeks ago, let's say a month or so ago. He ends up 8th. He's finished 9th, 4th, and 8th in his last 3 races. Only his 5th career start. That's impressive. Oren, who could have won this race if not for the Alton strategy. And then Jake Rogers ended up in 10th. Don't know where he came from, but that's a really strong performance.
Yeah, it was a fantastic performances by a lot of guys. Jake Rogers found himself in the top 10, the 11 of Will Parrish, finishing in 11th. Great run through the field for Tyler in the 63. See a couple other drivers there who had some good runs through the field in the second half of the race. Orgel Dorn in the 04, and a tough day for that team. Max Davis. Logan Williams struggled there in the second half of that race. Braden Perez was nowhere to be seen. And then you can see all the retirees and drivers got put a lot down there. But unbelievable run there for not Henry Guell. Benny Watson there. It was clean and it was consistent all race long. Just got better and better and better as the race goes on. And NS Racing, safe to say they're not going to win the Drivers' Championship. But there's something to be said when the 4 of the biggest races of the season and you can say that you want 3 of them. Fantastic result with 3 different drivers too, I must add.
So here are the championship standings after 26 races here in the Gratton Cup Series Season 6, and Dawson Miller retains a pretty good margin. 64 points now ahead of Gore, who did end up leading the most laps here in this race, but couldn't get the win, and that will frustrate the 71 team after what was a very strong night. Was it to be? Rowe ends up, moves a bit closer, 79 back, and then everybody else is over 100 points back. So really now it's down to 3 drivers. It's down to Miller, Gore, and Rowe in this championship battle. Eli Bright had a really tough night, and he dropped a lot of points and a lot of positions here in this championship here. So he's probably out of it as well. So what a race in the Southern 500. It was a lot of fun. Looked like for a long time that we might get a dominant win, like a massive margin of victory like we saw earlier in the season. You take a look at the full standings. But it wasn't to be. Gore was definitely the fastest driver for a lot of that race, and then Watson, after the pit stops, had a really fast 96, and he gets it done here in the Southern 500 of what was quite an entertaining race. And looking forward, of course, to the rest of the season. 4 races left to go, and there is I reckon there's 188 points on the table that you can get for race wins, lead most laps and everything. So we're really getting down to the nitty-gritty here in this championship, and as I said before, it'll come down to Miller, it'll come down to Gore, it'll come down to Rowe, but Miller still has that one hand on the championship trophy here in the Gratton Cup Series for season number 6. In terms of what we have next week, we go to the Kansas Speedway for the Advent Health 400. It is the 4th last race of the season. Kansas was a lot of fun earlier in the season. We're looking forward to that one. That'll be a day race next week, which will be a lot of fun. So for Matt Tuck, I'm Stuart Grant signing off here from the Darlington Raceway. Goodbye for now.